You're listening to Thursday Night AMP on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Thursday Night AngryMarks.com Pro Wrestling and Mixed Martial Arts Podcast. My name is Stevie J, joined by two fine gentlemen on the line tonight. Let me start first by introducing Jason Harland, a.k.a. The Great Sudoku.
Howdy, Angry Marks.
How's it going tonight, Jason?
Oh, doing well. Back at home, got my internet back. Been catching up on 3 days worth of the G1 Climax that I missed. I was house sitting at a place with very poor internet that I couldn't even watch the post-event streaming, so I'm catching up on it now. I watched 3 days worth, so I'm pretty much caught up at this point, and yeah, caught up on that, caught up on the Cruiserweight Classic, and ready to go tonight.
Excellent. So you marathoned a lot of good wrestling. You'll have a lot to talk about. And speaking of lots to talk about, it's a shame we didn't get his precast podcast conversation on the air, because Jordan J. Garber had quite a bit to say as well.
Hey, it's great to be here once again on Thursday Night AMP on AngryMarks.com. Hopefully everyone around the world learns about Jordan J. Garber. And if they haven't heard about Jordan J. Garber, then nice to meet you. It's going to be a great show tonight, guys.
As the late, great, notorious B.I.G. once said, if you don't know, now you know.
You know what?
You're going to get to know Jordan if you listen to this show. And that's our producer, Kelly Kev. What do you have to say, Kevin?
I was going to say, and if you don't know Jordan Garber by now, where the hell have you been? Because let me say, Jordan Garber has gotten a lot of press over the last week for a kick-ass interview he did with Santino Marella over on VOC Nation. I don't think I have seen that much press coverage of an interview show up in my Facebook feed so much as frequently as that has in quite a while.
Yes, Jordan got a major scoop with Santino, and we ran the highlights right here on AngryMarks.com, and we were very proud and very pleased to see it go big and go viral. So congratulations, Jordan. You talked to a guy that I consider one of my personal favorites of the last 10 to 15 years in wrestling. He may not have been the top guy in WWE because he was more of a mid-card guy and a funny guy, but man, every single time Santino was on TV, he entertained me. He was unforgettable.
Well, it's the reason why I joined this whole crazy wrestling business was because I was watching Santino Marella in 2007, and I watched his debut live on TV, and back in the day, I always used to watch him with my dad, and it was kind of a dream come true doing an interview with him and getting major press doing it, and hey, you know what, I enjoy the ride, and I enjoy the moments as they come along. So thank you guys for the great introduction, and I can't wait to do this show tonight.
You know, that debut is actually how he got his Twitter handle, Milan Miracle, because that's what he called it that night he won the Intercontinental title.
That is true. That was a huge night, and one of the biggest Intercontinental title changes in WWE history. And like I said, definitely an honor, and definitely more to come in the future.
Absolutely. So, speaking of more to come, we've got more G1 Climax to come this weekend and coming very shortly. So, before we get to the future, let's talk about the past. Jason, why don't you bring us up to date?
Sure. We'll start off with the standings in the A block and the B block, and I'll go over some of the highlights that have happened since we last talked about the G1 last Thursday. And yeah, currently pretty much everybody in New Japan Pro Wrestling involved with the G1 Climax has athletic tape on their arms, on their shoulder, on their back somewhere. It's getting to the point in the tournament where there's 2 or 3 matches left for the wrestlers, and or 3 or 4 rather, excuse me, and yeah, they're just beat up. And nobody is undefeated anymore. Everybody has at least one loss. We'll start with Block A, who has had 6 matches so far. Leading Block A all by his very lonesome is your IWGP Heavyweight Champion, Kazuchika Okada. He's got 10 points. He's 5-1. 2 guys below him at 8 points. Very surprising in Naomichi Marufuji, or Fuji the Butcher, as I like to call him. He's been making Kobe steaks and hamburger meat out of people's chests this whole G1 tournament. And he's going to chop some Sinahashi steaks up on Saturday morning. That's going to be fun to watch. But we got him and Togi Makabe, very surprisingly, in second place, tied with 8 points. Below them with 3 wins each at 6 points, we do have the aforementioned Hiroshi Tanahashi, Hiro Okigato, and Bad Luck Fale. And then rounding at the bottom, 4 guys with 2 wins each at 4 points. We've got Hiroshi Tenzan, Tama Tonga, who's got some of the ugliest tights I have ever seen. Tama, man, just hire me. I will help you get some better trunks than the ones you've got, because those tutti frutti camouflage things are ugly as sin, my brother. Also at the bottom there, surprisingly, Tomohiro Ishii and Sonata, and I thought they would both be a lot higher than just having 2 wins at this point in the tournament. That is how Block A is shaping up right now. Block B.
Yeah, before you go to Block B, I want to say something really quick. For this being the last G1 Climax ever for Tenzan, it's really surprising that he doesn't have more points.
I suppose. I mean, he is kind of in the middle of the pack, and he does have 3 matches left. So I figured he would finish middle to the last, 1/3 of the pack, perhaps last 1/2, or the top half or the top third is how I figure he'll finish. Top half at the lowest, top third at the highest.
I definitely thought he would be in the upper half, though. I thought if he's going to go out on his sword, they're going to make him look good for his last run ever. I didn't predict him being near the bottom at this point.
One of the things that I found interesting is in the wins that he has had, the 2 wins that he has had have not come by his Anaconda Vice or his Anaconda Vice Slam. They've both come by moonsault, which is something he kind of saves for the bigger shows like the G1 Climax.
That's true. All right, Block B.
It's been nice to see that. Block B, yeah, they've only had 5 matches, and again, no one is undefeated. We have 2 guys tied for the lead, 8 points, each with 4 wins, Tetsuya Naito and Michael Elgin. And to me, that's really no surprise there. Naito being a former IWGP champion, I kind of picked him to win this block outright. And Elgin, who is your current IWGP Intercontinental champion, who is just a beast in beast mode, and he deserves to be at the top of the pack there. Just a bunch of guys, all with 6 points below them. We have Katsuyori Shibata, the Never Open champion. Yoshihashi, who has been wrestling way, way, way above his talent level. He has really impressed me. Definitely check out some Yoshihashi matches. I'll talk about those a little later. He's got 6 points. A guy who is greener than grass itself, Katsuhika Nakajima. The man can kick, but my God, he can't wrestle his way out of a paper bag. He's got 6 points. Abby's favorite wrestler, wish you were here tonight, Abby, have some fun talking about this. Toru Yano is at 6 points, and he got out the athletic tape, and I'll talk about that in a minute too. Kenny Omega, another guy who has been wrestling just out of his mind and out of his league. Just, you want to see a good match, watch Kenny Omega or watch Yoshihashi, or even better, watch the match they had together, because they have been wrestling just way, way, way better than I expected either one of them to, and they have been 2 highlights of not only the B block, but of the tournament itself. Rounding out that group of 6 people is with the 6 points, is the Ageless Wonder, Blue Justice, Yuji Nagata, and then rounding out the bottom of Block B, 2 wins each with 4 points, Evil, and the perennial fan favorite who's got as many wins as he has in his last 2 G1 tournaments combined, Tomoaki Hanma, the pink and yellow attack.
The B block to me seems to have a lot less definition than the A block. There's just so many guys in the middle of the pack right now that it makes you wonder if somebody's going to break out and go on a run. It doesn't seem like, especially when you've got 2 people tied at the top, it just doesn't seem like there's a very defined group of upper echelon and lower echelon in the B block.
What I was going to say, too, with the B block is you don't have the big names like you do in the A block, which I kind of like for the B block because it's wide open and things can go back and forth. You don't have your Okadas, you don't have your Mirafujis, you don't even have your Tanahashis or your Tomohiro Ishii guys.
Yeah, but I would say Tetsuya Naito definitely stands out as a star in that block, and so does Elgin for that matter.
They do, but not quite at the level that an Okada would, or a Mirafuji would, or that a Tanahashi would.
I guess I'll defer to your judgment on that one, but to me, because Naito
was over like Rover. I will give you that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've become a huge Naito mark, and the fans certainly have as well.
I mean, yeah, they are marking out for him, but he doesn't quite have what the Japanese fans call that ace status that I would give to Okada, that I would give to Tanahashi, and I would give to Mirafuji, even though he works in Noah. He's got that ace status over in Noah.
Well, that may be why when it comes down to the finals of Block A and Block B, it's time for Naito to get that ace status by going over. That may be the plan here.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Naito win that block. I wouldn't mind seeing Elgin win that block. I wouldn't mind seeing Shibata win that block. Hell, I wouldn't mind seeing Yoshihashi win that block and get a huge push because he's been wrestling out of his mind. Same goes with Kenny Omega.
Yeah, and that reminds me of something I was going to ask you, Jason, is you said that Yoshihashi was wrestling above his talent level. Well, can we say that at this point? Because if he's having great matches in the tournament every single show, then maybe his talent level is actually higher than you thought.
I have to admit, yeah, his talent level is probably higher than I thought. There's kind of an exception to the rule when they threw him in there with Katsuhiko Nakajima on August 1st. Like I said, Nakajima is green as grass, and I was really hoping that Yoshihashi wrestling just way better than he has any right to would get me into the mat, but just no. I just couldn't get into it because Nakajima is Nakajima. He can throw some kicks, but he can't wrestle his way out of a goddamn paper bag.
So don't blame Yoshihashi for that. That's not his fault.
I won't, and I'll blame New Japan because what they did on today's show, they had Naito versus Nakajima in the main event, but that main event came after a much better match in Kenny Omega versus Katsuyori Shibata. And you never want to have Nakajima come out after Shibata because basically Nakajima is Shibata light with his kicks, and you don't want to watch Shibata light after you've watched the Genuine article lay into Kenny Omega for, half an hour.
Yeah, you don't want to follow Shibata in general, period. You just don't.
It's not a good idea to follow him, but especially when your gimmick, and Nakajima even uses the penalty kick, and he used it in his match against Naito. It's like we've seen the Genuine article. We don't need to see this knockoff Shibata light. And it just wasn't good, but there were good matches on the show. And yeah, I'll talk about what I had mentioned earlier. We'll start with the first match in the G1 blocks. Toru Yano got out the athletic tape, and Nagata was on the ramp, the ring entrance ramp, and Yano just took that athletic tape, wrapped it around the ankles and shins of Nagata, taped his legs up, and Yano runs back into the ring when the referee said about the count of 16. Nagata can't make it into the ring, and Yano wins by countout. It's amusing. It's something you don't see every day, but it's not my cup of tea. But I'm sure Abby loved it.
All I could think of when I saw that was Batista screaming, "Duct tape? Are you kidding me? Really? Duct tape?"
And yeah, Yano has done this in the GHC tag tournament in Noah too. He got Minoru Suzuki really pissed off at him for doing that. So this is something that is not new to Yano. This is something every bit as familiar to him as removing a turnbuckle pad.
That's very true. So,
and yeah, again, talking about Yoshihashi wrestling just above his talent level, his match against Elgin was amazing. And I would say both of these guys have exceeded my expectations in terms of performance. And yeah, I mean, both of them are battered. They both belong to the taped up brigade. They both have that athletic tape as does pretty much everybody in the G1 at this point. But I mean, this was a believable match. And I was talking about this with Kev before we got on the air about, when you have two guys fighting, what I want to see is, is it believable? Do I think the guy who wins could win in a fight? And there were spots in this match where Yoshihashi, went for a sunset flip powerbomb and was denied. He went for a flying cross body and was denied. Elgin is just a big guy, and he's not going to lay down for those. And holy fuck, at one point, Yoshihashi gets Elgin up and power bombs him. It looked a little bit unbelievable, but it was still credible. And it was incredible that Elgin kicked out. It was just an amazing spot. Yoshihashi really held his own. And I don't know how he managed to kick out of this lariat, but Elgin hit him with this lariat that damn near took his head off. That's another thing that I want to talk about in this tournament is I'd really like to see moves like lariats end matches. I don't think with a tournament that goes on as long as the G1 does, you don't need every wrestler to use their patented signature finishing move a la WWE to win every match. I would like to see a lariat out of the blue win a match, or a DDT out of nowhere win a match. I thought that would have been the perfect end of this one, but Elgin did pick up the win with the Elgin Bomb and gets the victory over Yoshihashi, but it was a wonderful match.
I agree. Not every match has to end with a finisher. In fact, sometimes G1 Climax matches, sometimes they should just end in 2 minutes off a simple roll-up just to keep fans guessing.
They should, and I wanted to go back to yesterday's action. A match that between Ishii and Tanahashi, I guess is how I will preface this one. And this would have been a 4 or 5 star match if it wasn't for what is obviously the referee being in on the finish. And that's another thing that I really think they should get away from in G1 is don't have the referees in on the finish. It looks really bad when a move is hit and you think the referee is going to count 3, but then he really slows that third count down because he knows that's not supposed to be the finishing move. And it's just, there was a point in this match where it looked like Ishii won with a lariat and I was marking out. I'm like, that's exactly what I want to see. But no, Red Shoes fucked up the count. And he had to, signal the timekeeper that the match wasn't over. The fans thought the match was over. And it was clear that he was in on the finish. And, it ended up Ishii didn't get the win. And Tana did his stupid, goofy, piddly frog splash to pin Ishii, which completely wasn't believable at all. And had it not been for that outcome and that botch by Red Shoes, had the referee not been in on the finish and just counted that 3 count as it should have been, that would have been a 4-star or a 5-star match and a match of the year candidate. But with the referee botch and with that finish, it easily loses 1.5 to 2 stars right there.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but oh well. Red Shoes, you suck. What can I say?
Sometimes I don't blame Red Shoes as much as I blame the bookers or the people in charge for letting the referees in on the finish.
That's true.
The referee should not be aware of the finish. If they make a 3 count, the match should be over. If they count to 20 and the guys are still out of the ring, match should be over.
You're advocating the Vince McMahon call it like a shoot philosophy here.
Especially for New Japan, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic that Vince McMahon gets the one thing right that New Japan usually gets right more often than him.
But yeah, that was one of my big complaints. That and having to sit through Nakajima matches are kind of my biggest complaints. But yeah, I did want to. There was another match I had wanted to allude to as well. This was from the 30th of September, where we had Michael Elgin versus Kenny Omega, and this is just another one. These two guys just performing better than they have any right to be performing. That's one of the reasons Elgin is atop the block, but this is another match to definitely check out. Elgin German suplexed Omega into one of the corner turnbuckles. It was just like, it just looked painful.
Brutal is the word I would use.
Yeah, Omega nailed Elgin with 2 dragon suplexes and a reverse Rana, and Elgin manages to kick out. It's like, this guy is not human. It was just sick. And, we got to see a Michinoku driver from Elgin too, which was pretty cool. Omega kicked out of that. I thought that was going to be a finish. But yeah, again, Elgin wins it with the Elgin Bomb. Again, this is something where it's a tournament, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not a one-time deal. I'd really like to see secondary finishers or just innocuous, like you said, like a roll-up out of nowhere or a clothesline or a brainbuster from a guy that's not Ishii who uses that as a finisher.
Indeed.
That's been my only complaint with the G1 is the ref buck-ups. Just have the refs call it like a shoot.
Mm-hmm. If somebody gets a win they weren't supposed to, it's a whole tournament. You can juggle the points and make it back later.
Because up to that point, the match was wonderful. I mean, there was a sequence where Ishii just kept asking Tanahashi to hit him, and he did, and Ishii shrugged it off because he's a big dude. And then there was, Ishii pulling Tana's hair, and it was like, yes, pull that fool's hair. And then there was Tanahashi thinking he could headbutt Ishii, and it would be a good idea. No, it wasn't.
That's never a good idea. You don't try to get in a battle with Ugly, because Ugly's going to win.
And they each were no-selling the other's dragon suplexes. And this match was gold up until the point that Red Shoes, intentionally slowed that count or muffed the count or whatever it was that he did. Up until that point, it was just a great match. But, yeah, it's definitely a match I think anybody who hasn't seen it should check it out just to see what I'm talking about, how you can ruin a good match by having the referee in on a finish.
I'm just glad I actually get away with saying Ishii is ugly, because usually Abby gets mad at me when I say that, but I do mean it as a compliment of the highest order. He's ugly.
Oh, he's cute. Way. He's a pit bull teddy bear.
He's not cute. He's ugly as sin, but some wrestlers just need to be. Try
to channel Abby in her absence here. That is the past. We can talk about the future going forward for the G1 here. And there are no matches tomorrow, so I do get to sleep tomorrow. I don't have to get up at stupid o'clock, but we do have a nice card that is coming up on Saturday. Your G1 matches for that Saturday morning, we have Sonata taking on Tama Tonga, Bullet Club versus Los Ingobernables to Japan, and hopefully Tama Tonga doesn't wear those ugly Tutti Frutti camouflage long johns that he's been wearing, because those things are ugly. We got Togi Makabe taking on Bad Luck Fale. That could be interesting. Two just big, bruising, hulking guys just throwing haymakers at each other. That I'd like to see. We have Hiroyoshi Tenzan taking on Hiroki Goto. That might be my bathroom break match. And in the semi-main event, we have Chaos versus Chaos. We have Kazuchika Okada taking on Tomohiro Ishii. That should be a fun match to watch. Those Chaos versus Chaos always are. So that should be a fun one to watch, though the main event, we've already let the cat out of the bag, so to speak, on what that is. That is where Naomichi Marufuji is going to make Kobe steaks out of John Cena Hashi's chest there. We've got Hiroshi Tanahashi taking on Naomichi Marufuji, and yeah, I said I was going to make a Val Venus reference. It's a good thing that we don't have Marufuji taking on Joey Ryan, or we really get a choppy your PP angle.
Speaking of Val Venus, I believe Jordan had a little story about him when we were off the air. Is that one that you want to share on the air with us?
You know what? From someone who's a fellow guy involved in the same industries that I enjoy, I was just a comment. I just want to kind of keep it on the lay low. He doesn't wrestle anymore. Back in the day, he was a big star, but I just think that, wrestling's not for him anymore, and I he kind of discussed that at a show that he was at. So there's nothing. It's not a big deal about it. He had his moment. He had his stardom, and he's on to another industry now, making a name for himself there.
Yeah, it's the cannabis industry, to be precise.
Yes, it is, and you gotta love what he's doing. He's doing it legally. He has a license. He has everything, and for those fortunate people that live in Arizona and that live in Colorado, it's good to get the knowledge on the right products and the right stuff. Unfortunately, those kind of things are not legal here in Canada, so I can't go crazy talking about it. But even though I do once in a while on my social media, but I don't know. Nowadays, I kind of look to leave things on the lay low and not make a big deal out of certain things.
Oh, I understand that. But we will make a big deal out of the Cruiserweight Classic. Were you able to watch that this week?
I caught a bit of it. I caught some of the highlights, but I've been so busy with personal things and work and trying to turn my life around, so I haven't really had much of a chance to watch, but I did watch some of the highlights, and I'll let you guys take the lead on this, but I'll say that I'm so impressed, and what a great concept. I think I talked about this on podcasts before. Honestly, overall, this whole Cruiserweight Classic thing is a great thing for the WWE. What do you guys think?
Well, I guess I'll ask you a specific question before I go to Jason. Did you see Ciampa and Gargano?
I did, and honestly, that was fantastic.
Okay. And Jason, your thoughts?
On the Cruiserweight Classic or Ciampa
This week's
versus
episode, but start with Ciampa and Gargano, because I think that's the one everybody's talking about.
We're gonna do the main event first. That I expected that to bring the house down, but not to the degree that it did. I expected Ciampa to go over. I always thought they were the one he was going to push. I was surprised to see him lose. Holy shit, whatever that driver was on the ring apron, my God, did that look sick. We got the cheeky Nando's kick by Gargano, followed by that suicide dive. That was amazing. We had that hesitation at the end with the knee pad where Ciampa was thinking if he wanted to deliver that, and then he hits him with the Project Ciampa, and it was just, oh my God, Gargano managed to kick out, and Gargano manages to win it with a crucifix. I totally didn't see it coming. I didn't see the win coming for Gargano. I didn't see a win coming in that way. But this match, I knew this match was going to attract the fans, but I didn't think it was going to tear the house down to the degree it did.
I think in a match like that, it doesn't even matter who wins because they both win. I mean, one man advances in the tournament to be sure, but both of them are going to end up on Raw in the Cruiserweight division.
I definitely hope so. They both made excellent cases for themselves to be main roster mainstays with that match.
Kevin has something to say about the match as well, so Killer Kev, go ahead.
I just thought it was really best match of the tournament so far, bar none.
I don't think you're getting any argument from anybody here. I'm not going to argue that it wasn't. I don't think Jason was arguing it wasn't. Doesn't sound like Jordan thought it wasn't either. So that's unanimous consent to this being a go out of your way to see it match. If you got WWE Network, then just go watch the replay. Not right now during the middle of our show, but as soon as we're done, you can go watch it if you haven't already. But what about the rest of the show, Jason? What did you think of the other matches?
Yeah, just one more thing to say about Ciampa versus Gargano. And if you do go to watch it on the network, for the Cruiserweight Classic, it's a long match, but as matches go, it's a little over 10 minutes. Definitely check that out. Yeah, let's get to the rest of the matches. We opened up with, Rich Don't Call Me Lynn Swan versus Jason Enter the Dragon Lee? Was that our first match?
That's correct.
Oh, and Rich Swan is amazing. Dude hit this sick Rana, this like handspring tip-up Rana that didn't look fake. And Jason Lee definitely helped him out by not making it look like he sold it and, obviously doing a front flip off the turnbuckle. That Rana was amazing. That rolling frog splash was amazing. I thought he was going to win with that, but he didn't. We got to see the bouncy 450 standing frog splash. And much as he should, Rich Swan advances, and holy shit, I'm impressed with this high spot machine.
Yes, I've been marking up for this guy for like 4 years now, but I don't know if I can even put into words just the fluidity of the way that he does things. It's almost one of those you have to see it to believe it type of things, but there's just a natural poetry in motion to the way that he moves.
That's a good point. And I was thinking that he's another one that would be very good main roster material, especially in a cruiserweight division. Rich Swann is another one that the WWE should definitely sign, and I think it is because, as you alluded to, that fluidity that he has. Like I was talking about with that Hurricane Rana that didn't look fake and botched, like 90% of the people who do it make it look so fake and so botched. And just for those innovative things like his rolling frog splash and his standing hoppy froggy 450 splash from the mat, just things like that are fluid but look amazing and look like they work.
Right, and that's it. That you just hit the nail on the head. Things that look like they work. It's not like, it doesn't have that choreographed feel like, I'll do a move, then you do a move, then I'll do a move, then you'll do a move, then I'll do a more spectacular move, and then you'll do a near fall, and then I'll do a finishing move. It actually feels like, even though he's doing high-flying moves and they're very acrobatic, they all feel like they're combat-oriented. They make sense. They flow together.
They flow together and they fit within the style of the match. I mean, it's like, holy shit, it's a high spot, but it's not an out-of-place high spot.
Right, it's not a spot for the sake of doing spots.
He incorporates it into the style he works. It's like, that is the style that he works, and as you said, he's got a very fluid style with that, and I want to see more of Rich Swann, and I hope they do sign him to NXT, bring him up to the Cruiserweight division and Raw, whatever they want to do. But he's a guy you want to lock up WWE, definitely.
Right. He is too talented to let go. By all means, keep the man around. But let's go on with the rest of the show.
Okay, next we have from Scotland, Noam Dar. He took on Gurb Sheba, a.k.a. Punjab Prince Pretty, or Bollywood Hogan from India there. And Dar was very methodical in working over Sira's leg, I guess is how you pronounce his name. Sarah. Haven't seen much.
Sarah, whatever will be.
Bollywood Hogan, that's what I'm going to call him. Bollywood Hogan or Punjab Prince Pretty, because he did have the Fandango Febreze-looking leg tassel thingies on his garments there. Yeah, this was Noam Dar with his typical leg bar, knee bar submission, working over the leg. It was a match.
Yeah, that's all I'd say about it, too. It wasn't, out of this entire episode, it wasn't anything special.
Nope. Yeah, it was there. it was definitely my least favorite match of the card.
Agreed.
Which leaves us with one match that we have not talked about, the semi-main event, I guess you could say. We had a guy that looks like he was like a genetic crossbreeding of both members of Red Dragon and Sheamus, and Jack Gallagher with his red mustachioed face and his pale skin. God, can you imagine him in a tag team with Sheamus? Ugh. And those stupid-ass rainbow trunks that he had. The fuck was up with those? So we had him taking on Fabian Eichner. No, just Fabian Eichner. And Eichner is a guy that I was surprised that he lost, because Eichner's moves and Eichner's look seems perfect not only for a cruiserweight division, but just for WWE main roster in general. He's got the look and he's got the moves, and I think that he would be a good fit in WWE regardless of if it's in a cruiserweight division or in a main program. I see a lot of potential in him in a federation like the WWE.
Yeah, but I kind of suspected Jack Gallagher was going this way, because you get little inklings when you watch the video packages of which guys they like and which guys they're going to push. And whenever they do the interview spotlights with him on his journey to the Cruiserweight Classic, you can tell that he's a guy they earmarked for success.
I guess you pay more attention to that, because my reaction to the ending of the match was what the hell? Did they let little rainbow mini Sheamus win? Fuck that.
You really got something against people with rainbow colors and camo rainbows. You're just all about criticizing the wardrobe and attire tonight.
I guess so, yeah. If anybody needs a wardrobe consultant for their ring gear, let me know. Hit me up at Great Sudoku on Twitter, and I'll get you some gear that's better than Tamataga's, and that's definitely a damn sight better than Jack Gallagher's. But I was impressed with Eichner, was that like Ernest the Cat Miller cat-like walking of the ropes with that springboard moonsault that he hit. That was amazing.
Yes, Eichner is a guy that I would keep around too, even if he's not going to advance in the tournament. This guy seems like he's got some natural ability.
I mean, he hit that sit-out powerbomb, and I'm like, sweet, it's over, and then Eichner has to kick out. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, that should have been the spot that ended the match right there.
But yeah, Kevin and I were kind of talking that before we went on air, and yeah, we were talking about, is it believable when I see two guys in a wrestling ring? My first thought is, could Gallagher beat Eichner in a fight? And I don't see that happening. And that was one of those things where it's like, yeah, if Eichner hit Gallagher with the powerbomb, that should be it. It should be over. But that's not the booking they had in mind.
I mean, if you ask me, can you book a match with a guy the size and style of Gallagher versus Eichner, and could Gallagher come out on top? Yeah, there's definitely ways that you can make that happen, and believably with Gallagher being the superior guy. But the match that they put on, it just said to me that Eichner should have been the guy that went over. I really didn't like the fact that many of his power moves were effectively no-sold within 10 or 15 seconds. And
if that, yeah, I mean, like the sit-out powerbomb, it's like 1-2 kick out.
Yeah, the powerbomb, that was a great spot where if they had ended it right there, it looked like Gallagher gave it all, but really the Power Man was just too powerful, and after his head got crushed on the mat like that, Gallagher should have been out.
Indeed. I agree 1,000%.
Well, I think it just doesn't even matter. Not that winners and losers don't matter. That's not what I'm arguing. But I think Eichner is going to be around for the long haul.
I hope so, because he really seems to fit that WWE mold. Especially if, I mean, you could really use him as a marquee guy in the cruiserweight division because his size is very deceptive. He is very deceptive. He's very built and looks a lot bigger than he actually is.
Yeah, thickness, I think, might be the word that you're looking for, because there are some guys that even though they're small, they're just thick. They're stout. They're well built.
He's jacked.
Yeah,
jacked is another way to put it.
He's jacked. I mean, he has the look of, I mean, without being, 6'4" and, whatever your typical hoss is. I mean, he looks like your typical WWE wrestler.
Yeah, I ain't fucking with him.
Sorry, I didn't want to trample on you, Kev, but there's a guy that I just thought of that explains what I'm thinking of. If you see Edson Barboza in UFC, he's a small guy, but he is very muscular and he is very thick.
Oh, that dude's a freak.
Yeah, exactly. That guy should not be a lightweight. That guy looks like a heavyweight.
And yeah, that's exactly what Fabian Eichner looks like. Yeah, I mean, he seems just gift wrap there for the WWE. It's like, oh, here you go. This is what you were looking for. Merry Christmas.
If WWE doesn't end up using him, on like the main shows, I hope they keep him around for like the European tour, because that would be a great guy to promote. Where it's not just, regular mainstream WWE guys all the time.
Oh, hell, if the WWE doesn't use him, I'm getting on the phone to Gato. Get this guy for Best of the Super Juniors 2017.
Oh, speaking of New Japan, now that you've transitioned us back to that, I believe I saw the card for the finals of the Super J Cup.
Let's take a look and see if I can bring that up here.
There's also a Super J Cup in Winnipeg. That's tomorrow. The Super Jobber Cup. You guys should check that out.
They're doing a Super Jobber Cup? Oh, that's amazing.
Canadian Wrestling Cup presents the Super Jobber Cup. So, who's going to be the ultimate jobber? We're going to find out tomorrow at Rookie Sports Bar in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. 8 p.m. Doors open.
The ultimate jobber will be the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Well, Winnipeg is a jobber city, but no.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know if Rowan Unruh will agree with you on that.
Well, I like Winnipeg. It's really cool. I've lived here all my life, so I'm not going to really complain about it. But, Winnipeg compared to, where you guys are, say, Pittsburgh or Philadelphia or Chicago or even Minneapolis, it's honestly, Winnipeg, I kind of consider Winnipeg still to be in the Midwest, but, it's a beautiful city if you give it a chance, but there's a lot of people that won't give Winnipeg a chance. So, it's unfortunate. I still love it here though. It's my home. It's my home.
All we are saying is give Winnipeg a chance.
Give it a chance. Give it a chance. But, there's... usually if you visit Winnipeg and you don't like it, your first impression, you're not going to like it at all. So, but I got lucky. I learned how to like my city. So, I might live in a city that's not really that popular, but hey, at least it's somewhat known. We have the Jets. So,
yeah, as a rapper I know once said, "Rap yo city."
Yeah, I do have the actual Super J Cup, the Japanese one. I do have that up, and I do have the brackets up if you want to go over that card, too. That is coming up. When is that? That is the 21st of August, the day before my birthday.
That's right. So let's go over the card.
You want to go over the whole card or just the Super J Cup matches?
Let's just stick to the J Cup. We'll talk about the rest of it in more detail when we get closer.
As it comes up, yeah. I mean, they are going strictly by the brackets here, too. Your first match is Jushin Thunder Liger taking on Taichi. And for the first time in the history of the Super J Cup, I'm actually rooting for Jushin Liger to win a damn match.
I was going to say, if you're not pulling for Liger in this one, I got a problem.
It's like, if I never see Taichi again, it will be too soon.
How grateful, though, can the wrestling fans be to see such a legend as in Jushin Thunder Liger, still perform at the level he does? He's over 50 years old, and he's still phenomenal. This guy's, if anything, technical-wise, he's probably one of the greatest in the world. This guy's amazing. Any Liger match I watch, I like bow after in respect because he's so good.
Like my analogy is it's like what Tenzan is to the G1, even more so what Liger is to the Super J Cup.
I would say what Liger is to Japanese wrestling, period.
Oh, there you go. And yeah, he was in the inaugural Super J Cup. He's been in every Super J Cup that there has been. And yeah, a lot of times it's kind of like, I get sick of him pushing himself. But against Taichi, just get Taichi the fuck out of there. Just get him out of the tournament. It should have been El Desperado. If you want a junior from Suzuki-gun, put El Desperado in there. But Taichi, get Taichi the fuck out of there. Nobody wants to watch him. That's your first
I
round.
can only laugh because I can't argue with you. I can't disagree with a single thing you just said.
It's like the most entertaining part of Tai Chi is his entrance, and after his entrance, even that wears thin after you've seen it a few times. But once that entrance is over, it's just and his stripper valet is ground on the announcers and his opponent and the referee and the ring attendants and the timekeeper and whatnot. Oh God, he's just boring as hell to watch in the ring. It's just It's like watching Tai Chi in the ring is like watching a Tetsuya Naito entrance. It's just like,
Oh, no. You knew you were going to get me to disagree with you the moment you said that, because everything that Tetsuya Naito does, including his entrance, is awesome.
Including his 5,000-year entrance that rivals The Undertaker in terms of total time elapsed.
I don't care. The longer it takes, the more time there is for me to mark out.
Alrighty. We will agree to disagree, but at least we can agree that Taichi needs to lose this match and go back to Noah.
Hell yes.
Even though he is on loan from New Japan, just go back to Noah and stay there, please.
Yes.
So that's the top half of that bracket. Your other half of the second round bracket is Kushida taking on Kano.
All right. I got to go with Kushida in that.
Yeah, I don't see them making their IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion lose in the second round.
No.
I don't see that. I'm definitely seeing a Kushida versus Liger semifinal matchup there.
Absolutely.
Which would be phenomenal. We have seen them. We've seen them work a program very recently for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, of course, with Kushida coming out on top. So there is some recent history there. I don't want to say bad blood, but there is some recent history, and hopefully they can kind of rekindle that feud that they had very recently and put on a good match in the semifinals, should they both win, which I hope they both will.
All right. Well, who do you got in Taguchi versus Kanemaru?
God, this is kind of a pick'em here. I really thought Bushi was going to go over Kanemaru, so...
I know! I'm still flabbergasted by that, but what are you going to do at this point? Kanemaru moved on, so...
Kanemaru is more your prototypical junior wrestler, where Taguchi is just a fucking goofball, but again, are you going to put the New Japan guy over? Maybe. I'm going to go with Kanemaru on this one.
Yeah, I guess if you're gonna put him over Bushi, you might as well keep going with him. I'll agree with you on that one too.
And then the icing on the cake here we have. Boy, I wish this was the final. This should be a final match and should be a final match. It is just a crime that this is a second round match.
I'm trying very hard not to have a wrestling orgasm just trying to say this, because Will Ospreay and Matt Sydal, oh my fucking god.
It's like, we saw Ospreay versus Ricochet, and now we get to see Will Ospreay take on Ricochet's tag team partner, Matt Sydal. This should be an amazing match.
If you like crazy, insane, aeronautic, acrobatic, just unbelievable, just gravity defying. That's what you're going to get out of this.
If you wake up on August 21st and just want to watch one match, watch this match. You don't have to watch any of the matches that come before it or after it. You want to see a fantastic match, tune in just for Will Ospreay and Matt Sydal.
The only thing I worry about in this one, my friend, is that both of these guys have been hurt in the past by their high-flying prowess and their just unrelenting desire to go out and perform. And I don't want these guys to hurt each other or hurt themselves trying to one-up each other in this match.
And I'm not really familiar with watching Matt Sydal work while he's hurt. But Will Ospreay, a lot of people compare him to AJ Styles, and I'll compare him to AJ Styles in another way very positively, is that both have been severely injured and continued to work in New Japan matches, and I had no idea they were injured. They were not showing any signs of injury whatsoever. And I've heard Ospreay say, oh yeah, I'm injured, I've slowed down my style, and I'm thinking, what are you talking about? Did you wrestle like Jack Evans before you were injured?
Yeah, if he's going slower, it's kind of hard to tell.
It's like, if this is your slow mode, boy, I want to see what you were like before you got injured, because this is faster than 90% of the guys out there right now.
I actually have a Jack Evans story.
Okay. It'd be nice if Jack Evans was in the tournament, but go ahead with the story.
Well, I just heard the name Jack Evans, and it was really, really funny. He literally just don't room with the guy. I'm not going to reveal the wrestler's name who he is with, but he's the kind of guy that will wake you up literally at 4 a.m. in Mexico City and try to find pot.
Yeah, that sounds like Jack, all right.
He woke my buddy up at 4 a.m. on this, Mexico City. The place they were staying at for a while was, in Mexico City, in the ghetto. And he wants to, at 4 a.m, he wants to get up and buy pot. That's insanity. But it's funny. Another Jack Evans.
Insanity or insomnia, one of the two.
One of those two.
All I can say is when it comes to either Jack Evans or Teddy Hart, I don't dispute any story I've ever heard about either one of them.
Nothing surprises you with Teddy Hart or Jack Evans, huh?
Yeah.
Not at all.
I don't blame you.
Too many Teddy Hart stories, too, but that's for a different episode.
Yes, it is.
But with the Super Jake, I have no idea who to pick for inside Elver. I mean, I guess I'll go with Ospreay because he's kind of their singles horse where they use Sydal more in tag teams.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Ospreay, but not because I think that he's necessarily 100% better than Sydal. They're neck and neck in terms of talent, but you're right. Sydal's the tag team guy, so if he loses here, he'll just go right back to that.
I'll go back to tagging with Ricochet. Yeah, I see Ospreay against, I guess, Kanemaru or Taguchi. It doesn't really matter because Ospreay's going to go over and make it to the finals. And I see an Ospreay versus Kushida final.
I was going to say, as much as I love Liger, I think Kushida beats him to go to the finals.
Yeah, I mean, as epic and historic as it would be to have Jushin Liger in the finals, his time has kind of come and gone. You've got your IWGP champion there. You have some history, too, with Will Ospreay coming damn close to winning that IWGP title from Kushida and having them meet in the tournament finals, especially if you have Will Ospreay go over in that tournament final. That's just all the more reason to have him have a rematch against Kushida for that IWGP Junior Heavyweight title.
Honestly, when you look at the entire tournament bracket, you have to think they laid it out that way to tell that story. You have to think that they were gunning for Kushida and Ospreay in the finals.
Yeah, I mean, they sure weren't going to push Teton.
Yeah.
Or Guru-kun Mask.
No. Now, Bushi, I still maintain Bushi should have done better than going out in the first round. But
yeah, Bushi lost to a guy that's 1 month younger than I am.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. But what are you going to do?
But yeah, I definitely see Ospreay going to the finals against Kushida, and I'm going to say Ospreay wins it to set up, probably at Wrestle Kingdom 11, IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match, Ospreay versus Kushida again.
Is it funny to think we're only a few months away from that now? I mean, it's, it'll be early January and we're already in August, so September, October, November, December, it's getting close.
It's months away. It's like I can still remember Wrestle Kingdom 10 and one of my match of the year candidates with AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, who are both now in WWE. How sad.
Well, what's sad about it is that they are not wrestling each other. That's the only sad part.
That's what's sad, yeah. They don't know how to use AJ Styles. I have no problem with Nakamura because he's on NXT and the powers that be in NXT know how to use guys like that. Once he gets up to the main roster, then I start getting worried.
Well, they do need to keep enough guys on NXT to keep it interesting, because, speaking of which, they're selling tickets for NXT in Omaha tomorrow. Tickets go on sale, so if they sent Nakamura up to the main roster right now, I'd be very mad.
You'd be like, damn it!
Do not ruin my chance to see the man live again. I saw it once, and I'm dying to see it twice.
Stevie's going to be front row with a King of Strong style T-shirt on.
Yeah, well, I couldn't be front row with the show in Dallas because that was sold out, and I had to take whatever I could get. But this one, I might have a better shot.
And in Omaha, you've got some pull in Omaha.
I don't know if I've got enough pull, but I'm definitely going to be one of the first online when the tickets go on sale. I'll tell you that.
Well, there you go. I hope it's a good show. I hope there's some good matches there. I hope you get to see Shinsuke and Asuka and Samoa Joe.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have no worries about the quality of the depth of the roster, nor of the quality of the house show that they bring, because I don't think I've seen a single NXT live report where anybody has been like, yeah, I wish I didn't come. It wasn't very good. All the guys are on WWE main roster. There's no talent here. Nobody's ever said anything like that after they go to an NXT show.
You know what I actually think would work out best for all parties and would be very interesting? If you have an angle where Heath Slater is demoted to NXT.
You know what? I really want them to pull the trigger on this idea of Heath Slater going to Evolve. They've even got Evolve discussing it now in their WWN live alerts. They're mentioning it in their email now.
That would be good too.
And you know what? It would be okay if he goes there and actually loses the first few matches, because he comes in being all cocky like, I'm the WWE guy, who are these indie guys? And then they beat him, and he goes, well, shit, maybe I need to learn a few things before I go back to WWE, and kind of re-ups his game.
Yep, have him tar and feather him, have him, come back working a more well-rounded style, a bigger moveset, and yeah, that's one of those things where it can only help Heath Slater to quote-unquote go down.
Yes, and it can only be beneficial for WWE too, because what are they going to do with Heath Slater other than job him? I mean,
exactly.
It works best for everybody. There's no loser in this situation if they're all open-minded enough to do it.
Remember back in the old draft when Raven wanted to be exclusive to Heat?
I remember
it happened.
I could have said something incredibly rude, but out of respect to Mr. Levy, I will not do that because I like him.
It happened. It was a real thing. I'm not making it up.
No, I know you're not, but like I said, I could have said something rude about that, and I won't.
But I liked Heat back then. I mean, Heat was the show back then. That was like your cruiserweight show and your fast-paced, high-flying show.
Well, hell, that was how I really evolved into my next level of fandom, no pun intended, on Stevie Richards, because he became more than just the guy in Blue World Order to me. He became Stevie Night Heat. That was how I became a huge fan of him.
Oh, I loved him as Big Stevie Cool in the Blue World Order. That's where I became a Stevie Richards fan.
Well, yeah, but you also had a lot more personal access to ECW than I did.
I sure did. Yeah, I went to many an ECW show here in Pittsburgh at the old David Lawrence Convention Center.
That's right. So, I think we're getting to about that time in the show where we start to wrap it up. So, Jordan, do you have anything you want to discuss that we haven't already tonight?
No, I think you guys covered everything. I love the New Japan talk. You guys got to listen to the great Sudoku. He's the expert, and he gives you all the information you need. And I can't wait to be on next week, guys. Thanks for having me on, and I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, Jordan. Hey, give a few plugs, social media and whatnot before we wrap.
Yes, sir. Facebook page, facebook.com/Jordan J. Garber. Instagram, Jordan J. Garber. Snapchat, JordanZone17. And my main form of social media, Twitter, @Jordan J. Garber. And stay tuned on all those social media networks for some upcoming shows and or podcasts that I'm on in the future.
Yes, including VOC Nation. And you never know who he'll be interviewing over there next.
Definitely. It's just the beginning here for Jordan Garber, and I can't wait for the ride to continue.
Well, we can't wait either. So thanks, Jordan. It's always a pleasure having you on. And Jason, what do you want to plug before we wrap it up?
Oh, boy. The first thing I want to plug is an old VHS cassette that's like out of print, but you may be able to find it or pirate it or get it through some kind of unscrupulous means. Roddy Piper's Fighting Fit VHS tape. If you can find this, it is definitely worth a watch. Just for him telling the kid to scream, "That's not my dad!" So definitely check out the late, great Roddy Piper's Fighting Fit. And while we're on the subject of the late, great Roddy Piper, check out one of his awesome films, They Live. Because you owe it to yourself, if you're a sci-fi fan, to watch They Live, because They Live is awesome. I'll also plug Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which I've been watching. I'll plug Star Trek Voyager. Just go out to Netflix or pirate or whatever you want to do and watch all the good old Star Trek, not this new J.J. Abrams crap. I did see
wait,
we're going to get into it here. Alrighty.
Yeah, pardon me, but I actually like Star Trek Beyond. I thought that was a fun movie.
Oh, you enjoy Frat Trek, huh?
You can call it whatever you want to, but if I can get my wife to sit through a sci-fi movie with me for 2 hours, then it's a good movie.
I thought it was good. Maybe it's just me.
Numbered. Yeah, I don't like I like what J.J. Abrams did with Star Wars. With Star Trek, not so much. I don't like it. I don't like it being dumbed down to frat boy levels and being told, oh yes, this guy with the Scottish accent, we're going to tell you explicitly that he is Scotty. Well, thank you. I would never have guessed.
Well, I mean, I think you have to, because there's a lot of people that don't know anything about Star Trek, and the old original Star Trek series just doesn't quite have any appeal to them. So I think if you're trying to attract in a new audience beyond the original, who you know is going to watch this anyway, you do have to explain some of these characters and a little bit of their background.
Again, I guess for me it works the opposite way. It's like, especially for wrestling too, I really hate when they explain like a feud that happened before. What I like is when somebody will casually mention something and not give any background on it, which will pique my interest to make me go and research it. A guy who is really good at doing this, not wrestling related, but a YouTube channel, The Cinema Snob, definitely check him out. He will name drop just the most obscure movies in his reviews. I will pause the review, go look up that movie, and find out why it is funny that he mentioned it there. So there's definitely another side to that coin, too.
Well, actually, if you're going to talk about dropping obscure references, nobody's ever made me Google more things than Mystery Science Theater 3000. I've learned
that
more
too,
about
yes.
more movies and more pop culture references just from trying to figure out what the hell they're talking about.
And I will plug them on YouTube too, because they have annotations in the movies they put on YouTube, which kind of takes some of the work away from that. But yeah, I will continue along. I did see the new Ghostbusters. I did not pay to see it. I would not recommend anyone else pay to see it. If you want to see what a Saturday Night Live sketch doing the Ghostbusters would look like, that's exactly what the movie is. Do not go see it. It is not worth your money. It's not the worst piece of garbage on the planet in terms of movies, but it is not worth your money.
So really, it's not as bad as everybody made it out to be.
No, the trailers definitely picked out the worst parts of the movie and put them in the trailer. Whoever made the trailer should definitely be fired. I mean, it's, fans of the Ghostbusters franchise are not going to like it. New fans may enjoy it because they don't know the history, but anyone who was a fan of the original is going to be like, oh, no.
All right. Well, you know what? I'll save my $5 and go see Suicide Squad next week anyway, which I already hear is getting terrible reviews, but I don't give a fuck.
I will go see that too. I'll be right there with you. I'll also plug my cooking blog at veggiebending.wordpress.com. And as always, I'll plug New Japan World, njpwworld.com. It is the best 999 yen you can spend in a month.
And that works out to $9.88.
And a loonie.
And a loony and a toonie.
Hey.
And before we wrap it up, I'll ask Killer Kev. Hey, Kev, you got anything to plug?
Well, since we've traipsed on the topic a couple of different ways, I'm gonna make both of you do a little bit of work trying to find an obscure piece of video entertainment. Did either one of you know that Roddy Piper was almost a mainstream television star?
I did not.
What are you referring to?
In 1991, him and Jesse Ventura were booked on the pilot of an ABC TV show that aired the night before the Super Bowl. The TV show is called Tag Team.
There it is. It's on YouTube.
There it is. It's on YouTube. There you go. It is a TV show about two wrestlers who get blackballed from the wrestling business and end up falling into becoming undercover police detectives.
I think I've heard of this. I think I've heard about this.
I'll just say this. For the pilot, I thought it was really good. It wasn't too serious. It wasn't campy. I I thought it could have been a great TV show. Happened to find a podcast from a few years ago with Ventura and Piper where they brought this up. And the silliest thing is that they had a great writing team. They had 2 great production companies involved with it. They had the backing from Disney for it. And then the 2 production companies got into a legal bout over a different TV series. Both of those production companies ended up suing Disney individually over something else, and Disney shit-canned it all.
Wow.
But if that show had made it past the pilot, I am quite certain both Ventura and Roddy Piper would have been breakout TV stars of the 90s, probably one of the most popular TV shows of the 90s, and you never would have had a Governor Ventura.
Well, then maybe it just wasn't meant to be, because Jesse Ventura was always meant to get into politics, and Roddy Piper was always meant to be the crazy lunatic in any wrestling promotion he was ever in. So maybe it just wasn't meant to be.
But owe it to yourself. Celebrate the life of Roddy Piper. Go find this show on YouTube. Watch it. Enjoy it. Laugh with me.
I will do that, Kevin. I'll watch it tonight or tomorrow, I promise. But I think that's it for Cheap Plugs, so I'm going to say this has been Thursday Night AMP for our producer, Killer Kev, for Jordan J. Garber, for Jason Harlan, a.k.a. The Great Sudoku, and myself, Stevie J. Thank you for listening to our program, and we'll see you next week.